Oh, hi there. I'm Ron Juckett, and it's time once again for the DoDCast, this time for the 23rd of March, 2018. Let me switch screens here. And hopefully some of you just watched the end of, well, at least the last preseason game on television between the Astros and the Nats. The Astros winning tonight 3-1. Kind of a disappointing way to end the spring training. I watched Jeremy Hellickson start in against Miami at Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium. That sounds like they played at a car dealership, to be honest. Where he looked impressive. He threw 69 pitches over 4 innings. Did not look tired in the 4th inning. I believe he struck out 3. He's a junk ball pitcher. Hellickson is not going to throw the ball very hard at all. I believe his fastball topped out at 90, according to Chelsea Janes from the Washington Post. Like I said, lots of breaking balls, lots of off-speed stuff, but they swung on and missed quite a few. Don't have the specifics. I'll be writing that up for tomorrow morning. Hellickson's start, which was a fair bit better than what A.J. Cole did tonight. I believe he walked 5 over 4 innings, 5 walks and 5 hits. I saw the beginning of that game. I watched the first hour until I flipped over for Hellickson's appearance, and Cole just didn't pitch it with any confidence. I mean, they've given him the 5th starter's job, and he went out there pitching like he was sitting in a life raft in the middle of the ocean. There was just nothing to that gave you any confidence. Now, most of the Washington starters were racked this week in their last start. Ted Aurora get out and look good in his last start. None of them have. You kind of wanted to see some signs of life from somebody. Okay. And you were kind of hoping now that Cole's been given again, not that dreaded vote of confidence, but was told by Davey Martinez that he is their guy. He is their 5th starter, and he goes out against, granted, the World Series champions, and just throws an absolute clunker of a game. Once he got behind in the count, he walked, and once he put a base runner on, there was 2 on. I mean, as I thought last year with Joe Ross, most of that stuff, in my view, was in his head. And I believe that's the case with Cole. I think a lot of Cole's problems are between his ears. What he needs to go out and do is once he gets ahead of a hitter is stop nibbling. Okay, so you waste one on an 0-2 count, but too many times he's had 0-2 counts that turn into walks. And once he gets into a base with the base runner on, there just is no confidence in his ability between his ears, and it shows. That was not the case with Hellickson tonight. He got in trouble in the first. He plunked the second batter that he faced. Gave up, I believe, 3 hits over the 4 innings against what many expected on Marlins television to be the opening day lineup for the Marlins, are pretty close to it. And so Hellickson did more than a good job there. So as soon as he's ready, I would imagine that he would be the 5th starter unless Cole goes out there next week, or not next week, because they only played three games then. You know, if he pitches against Atlanta, which he might do on their first trip, the end of that first road trip there, I'll spit it out eventually. Be curious if he would start after that, because Hellickson probably will get some extended spring training time. He may get 1 start in Syracuse before getting called up, because if this is the A.J. Cole that we see in his first start of the season, they just can't afford to do that. And what you saw from Hellickson tonight, if you watched on the MLB TV package, was good. 69 pitches over 4 innings. I think they want to get him closer to 100, so it's at least 1 more start. But he's not going to hard throw anyway, so you could certainly tolerate that. So, all right, don't know if anyone's watching this. If you are, say something in the chat. Love to chat with you for a few minutes while we're doing this. Let's explain what we're going to do for the regular season. We are not going to do post-game shows every night. We're actually meeting with someone who has been on once or twice before, once with Drew and I, and once with Drew. Blake Finney from the UK, courtesy of New England, is going to be our primary host through the course of the year, and he's going to do some good things with the show. Take it down, I think, to maybe series. We haven't quite figured out what it is, but certainly make it more available, a little more timely for you, and not these rush jobs after games. What we're going to do, while you're seeing me tonight and not Drew, because Drew live tweeted the game, is that we're going to turn around and give you our best takeaway after each and every game, because we want you to read the website. So for the day game, for the opening day game, by 7:30, we should have something for you to read. And on a regular game that's at 7:00, hopefully by 10:30, quarter of 11, we've given you our take on what we thought was the most important aspect of the game. The other change to the website that we've done, daily, it won't run tomorrow, but during the season, it'll be 7 days a week. Thoughts on the day and give you some articles to read, what we call in the business a link dump. But we're handpicking articles for you to read. Some of them are from our own stuff, others from fan-sided sites across the baseball network, so our colleagues over there, and others, your basic, if you're reading them anyway, just pieces that we picked out from local blogs, what other teams, what other cities think of the Washington Nationals and that. So that's called the Daily Washingtonian, easy to pronounce. And that will run daily at district.com at 6 a.m., along with the regular 2 pieces during the day that come out at 8 and noon. And don't forget now, instead of a post-game show like this, we're going to do a takeaway from the game, and Drew and I will give our thoughts on that. We'll take turns. Whoever live tweets the game will get to write the post-game thoughts. As far as how we will break that up over the course of the year, I will primarily handle the home games, while Drew will primarily handle the road games. So if you don't like me, the road games are the ones you want to see tweeted. When Drew finishes his freshman year, then that will be the exclusive arrangement, because he's going to go to some games. So I will handle home, and Drew will be with you for the away games. But we do plan on live tweeting every game that has some meaning along with that. So starting on Thursday, we'll have 4 pieces a day for you to read at District on Deck on game days, and 3 on every other day. So stuff to look forward to. All right. Please, if you got something to say in the chat, I'd love to hear it. As far as spring training is concerned, now we've reached the point where players are tired, and the pitching was not great this week. Lots to kind of worry about. Well, is there anything to worry about? I really wouldn't worry about things too much. I know that Gio Gonzalez and Tanner Roark's last start were not things that you would consider to be good. Some of the people are on social media, especially on Twitter, are already impatient about what's going to happen this year. And one person in particular is saying, this team will not win the division. Well, that's a bunch of bull. This team is poised to win around 97 games. I don't think they're going to have much difficulty winning the division. The Mets are a better team, but the Mets are a dicey team. Philadelphia, of course, has improved with Jake Arrieta. The Marlins aren't much to write home about. And Atlanta seems to be a team in transition. So, the Mets may give them a little bit of a fuss, but I would imagine, the last projection I saw from Fangraphs was 7 games, a 7-game spread. Last year it was 1. I think between 7 and 10 is about the right number. I think the Phillies will play the Nats a little bit tougher this year. The Mets can play tougher, but the Mets offense is pretty much, again, dependent on home runs and how good their starting pitching is. Once you get past Jake DeGrom and Noah Syndergaard, it's, catch as catch can. Poor Steven Matz can't stay healthy to save his life, and that's just too bad. And the Mets are an older club, so we'll see what they do. I just don't see the division being a problem. Drew's talked about this. I've talked about this. Our writers on the staff have talked about this. It really comes down to, look, we'll see where we are after the All-Star break. And just like last year, the Nats should be able to spend enough money and trade enough players to fill in whatever hole that they need. Is fifth starter going to be a problem? We really don't know at this point. No, you really shouldn't have a lot of faith in A.J. Cole. I think he has hit his ceiling. I wrote about Eric Fetty today. I think he'll be back at some point this season. He had a good spring. He needs to work on his control a little bit, but overall, he had a very good spring. Pitches that he has an out pitch, which is something he didn't have last year when they brought him up. He won't be going that shuffle back and forth between the starting rotation and the bullpen like he did last year. Lots of good signs from Fetty. Plus, there was movement on his 95-mile-an-hour fastball. I mean, that's a good thing. Not sure what they're going to do with Edwin Jackson and Tommy Malone. Malone may just stay in Syracuse. Jackson, again, he'll give you 5-6 innings, 4 good, 1 terrible, and 1 that makes you wobble around like this. I think Fetty's the best of those 3 options. A.J. Cole, I think, he doesn't have any options left, so he has to stay in the major leagues, and he may actually be an honest-to-goodness long reliever, something that hasn't been in vogue in baseball in a long, long time, but the guy that could probably get you 2-3 innings if you needed to once or twice a week. If based on what we saw tonight, Hellickson is going to be the 5th starter at some point very quickly in the season, but the very definition of a 5th starter is a guy with an ERA between 4 and 5. He gets you between 5 and 6 innings. If he can keep you in the game, great. If not, that's why he's a tail end starter. So, the other problem, of course, that they have is catcher. Miguel Montero is probably going to win because Pedro Severino does have one more option. Neither one of them have hit very well this spring. Matt Wieters has hit well, but the problem with Wieters is he played too much last year. He can't be in the position where he plays 110, 120 games. He needs to be in that 90 to 100 range because the more Wieters plays, last year, his offense just collapsed at the end of the year because he simply played too much. I wonder what they would do with Spencer Keyboom. Keyboom's had a very good spring in limited action. Certainly a better offensive, force than Severino or Montero, but my guess is because of the option situation that Montero makes the team as the backup catcher. Again, if this is something that we get into July and Montero is the same automatic out that Jose Lobaton was last year, you trade for that. You have players to do that. I still see a massive deal with Tampa at some point. If Washington needs to trade for a starter, they're not going to trade for another 5th arm. They're going to go for a mid-rotation starter. They'll spend the money if they need to. I mean, not getting Arrieta was the smart thing to do. He wanted too much money, and with the tax situation, he would have cost almost $40 million this year for Washington. You're just not doing that. So, I think the thing is to be patient with how things go over the first half of the season and make adjustments. Look, this team is already over the competitive balance tax. It's paying 30% for every dollar spent over $197 million or something like that. There's only 2 teams in the preseason that are over the tax. I believe, is it San Francisco? One of them is DC. Oh, the other one I believe is the Red Sox. Or San Francisco, which got hit with the bad news today that Madison Bumgarner broke his pinky finger and will be out 6 to 8 weeks. I believe he was hit by a pitch. If you were following along, Justin Turner, who also was hit by a pitch and broke a bone, that's not as severe, and he should be back hopefully by mid-May, which is good for the Nats because they make that 2 West Coast trips out early, and one of them will be a 3-game set at Dodger Stadium. Let's see. What else can I tell you? This was not really well planned. As far as the other 4 pitchers are concerned, I know that in the Tanner Roark game that I watched, not this most recent one, but the one before, the whole modus operandi in camp is just having pitchers work on different type of pitches. So Roark has pretty much ditched the windup. It's either a short windup or pretty much working from the stretch from the get-go. And in the game I watched, she was throwing all off-speed stuff. So if you've kind of come across the game and wonder why they're not pitching all that well, Dave Martinez really wants them working on A, B, and C during outings. It's one of the reasons why they've been so aggressive stealing bases and getting thrown out, because he wants to see what he has. Goodness gracious, Chris Dominguez stole the base tonight against Miami. The throw was dropped, but he stole a base. So, that's important to keep in mind as you're going through and reading all the dispatches from Florida. These are nothing more than glorified practices, and Martinez has treated him that way. Ryan Zimmerman is okay. He does not have the plague. He does not have anything that's sore or any hammy issues or anything like that. He didn't want to do spring training, and Dave, is participating in drills and batting practice, maybe some minor league games. Dave Martinez is okay with that. Zimmerman will be in the starting lineup on Thursday. Daniel Murphy is not in the starting lineup on Thursday. You do not know how long he's going to be out for. He has started running, some lateral running, trying to field. But as far as game shape is concerned, my goodness, I can't see a scenario where he would even be back for the home opener. My guess is the first 2 weeks. He really needs to get those at-bats and get in some fielding things. And because the minor league season begins a week there, my guess is he stays in Florida an extra week and then does a rehab maybe in Harrisburg or Syracuse, depending on who wants to go see him before he's up. But it's important for him to be healthy when he does only come up. October is the key, not necessarily standing on the third baseline on opening day. Coda Glover isn't throwing it. Not sure what they'll do with the bullpen. I guess the Nats are going to experiment at least with an 8-man pen. The law firm obviously is there. If you're wondering about Sean Kelly, will they cut him? No, they're not going to eat the $5 million. He admitted last night that he just didn't have the adrenaline going, and I wonder, and maybe you can comment that I think he just retires. I think they talked him into retirement. I think he came into this camp not sure what he could do, pitched well early, and if he's not feeling it, or if he's feeling any discomfort to go along with that, then that's pretty much his career, which is too bad. You never want to go out in case of an injury. In 2016, he did hard work, despite the fact he'd already undergone one Tommy John, and remember, he got hurt at the end of the Dodgers series in the playoffs, and he wasn't right last year. So outside the law firm, I think Eddie Romero makes a team. We'll kind of get into that later in the week because I'm not sure what they'll do. But for the most part, it's been fine. I saw that Ryan Madsen pitched tonight and Brandon Kinsler pitched tonight in West Palm, while Sean Doolittle followed Hellickson tonight in Jupiter against the Marlins. So, the big three are fine. If they have 5 arms in there, beyond that, that's a lot. But eventually Cole will go to long relief, I would imagine, and you need pitchers to fill in for injuries and also, when they're behind, so that the law firm isn't going through there every night. It's important to keep everyone fresh, but everyone has to work. It's almost like one of those John Wooden things. See, anything else? I think it pretty much covers it. What did we do today on the site? I wrote about Eric Fetty's demotion, how it wasn't a bad thing. Drew wrote about, I forgot what he wrote about. He'd yell at me for that if he was watching, but he's writing. And of course, we had, articles that you should read. That's what it went up on the site today. We talked a bit in the last couple of days about Bryce Harper playing first base. Don't buy anything into him being a leadoff hitter. I think that was just Martinez giving reporters something to write about. It'd be interesting. Bryce has been practicing at first. So I wonder if that was something that they would try. I believe Howie Kendrick should be the opening day second baseman. Wilmer Difo had a couple good plays tonight in the field against the Marlins. I mean, that was good to see, but his bat is an absolute mess. He just strikes out on way too much stuff. All right, so follow us on Twitter at District On Deck. We will live tweet every regular season game. We've done live tweeting now for the preseason. This was their last television game of the spring, and I believe they go back Tuesday, but that game is not televised. Follow us on Facebook at District on Deck. We will be with you for the last kind of YouTube conventional DoDCast on Wednesday, 8 or 9 o'clock, as we all get together to preview the season. So you get to see everybody, and then we'll kind of go from there. Remember, the season starts Thursday, Masson 2, 4 o'clock, or with us on District on Deck. For Drew Douglas and the entire staff of District on Deck, I'm Ron Juckett. Go back and enjoy the madness, and we'll talk to you on Wednesday to preview it all. Take care.